For 165 million years, dinosaurs ruled every continent on Earth, a reign roughly 800 times longer than modern humans have existed. During that vast stretch of deep time, they evolved into forms ranging from feathered predators, no larger than pigeons, to long-necked giants weighing as much as 10 elephants. The fossil record preserves thousands of species, yet paleontologists estimate we've discovered less than 30% of all dinosaur genera that ever lived. Each new excavation rewrites assumptions. Recent finds confirm that many dinosaurs sported elaborate feathers, that some species endured polar winters in near-freezing darkness, and that their metabolism ranged from cold-blooded sluggishness to warm-blooded intensity rivaling modern birds. Tonight, we trace the entire arc of their existence, from their humble origins in the Triassic deserts to the catastrophic day an asteroid sealed their fate, examining the evidence that transforms ancient bones into vivid, accurate portraits of lost worlds. Roughly 235 million years ago, in the heart of the Triassic period, the world was a place of extremes. The supercontinent Pangaea stretched nearly pole to pole, its vast interior dominated by arid deserts and seasonal monsoons. Life was recovering from the greatest mass extinction in Earth's history, the Permian-Triassic event, which had wiped out over 80% of marine species and a staggering 70% of land vertebrates. In this harsh, unpredictable landscape, a new lineage of reptiles quietly began to emerge, the dinosaurs. But what exactly set these early dinosaurs apart from the other reptiles of their time? The answer lies in a handful of remarkable fossils unearthed from South America's Ixigualasto Formation, a rocky expanse in northwestern Argentina. Here, paleontologists have uncovered the remains of some of the earliest known dinosaurs, including Eoraptor, Herrerasaurus, and Staurikosaurus. These creatures were small, most no larger than a medium-sized dog, and lightly built, with long tails and slender limbs. Yet their anatomy reveals a suite of innovations that would shape the course of vertebrate evolution. Unlike the sprawling, lizard-like gait of their contemporaries, early dinosaurs walked with their legs positioned directly beneath their bodies. This upright posture, supported by a specialized hip structure, allowed for more efficient movement and greater stamina. Their ankles were hinged, not splayed, enabling them to run faster and for longer distances. These adaptations may seem subtle, but they offered a crucial edge in a world where survival often depended on speed and agility. The earliest dinosaurs were not the dominant predators or herbivores of their day. Instead, they shared their habitats with a diverse cast of archosaurs, a group that included the ancestors of crocodiles, pterosaurs, and other now extinct lineages. In fact, for millions of years, dinosaurs were relatively rare, overshadowed by larger and more numerous rivals like the Rauisuchians, a family of formidable, crocodile-like hunters. Yet, the seeds of future success were already sown. The lightweight skeletons, efficient lungs, and upright stance of these early dinosaurs set them apart from their competitors. Fossilized trackways from the Triassic show that some species traveled in small groups, hinting at the beginnings of social behavior. Their teeth and jaws reveal a range of diets, from sharp, serrated teeth for slicing meat to leaf-shaped teeth for cropping plants, suggesting that even in these early days, dinosaurs were experimenting with different ecological roles. What environmental pressures drove these innovations? The Triassic was a time of frequent droughts, wild temperature swings, and unpredictable food supplies. In such a world, versatility was key. Dinosaurs' ability to move quickly, conserve energy, and exploit a variety of food sources may have been their ticket to survival. But how did these early pioneers spread beyond their South American cradle? And what would it take for them to rise from obscurity to dominance? The story of dinosaur origins is, in many ways, a story of movement, across landscapes, through time, and between continents. During the Middle and Late Triassic, Pangaea's vastness meant that land animals could, in theory, roam from what is now South America to Europe or Asia without ever crossing an ocean. Fossil evidence supports this. Closely related early dinosaur species have been found in Argentina, Brazil, and even as far afield as India and Madagascar, all of which were connected at the time. But the fossil record is patchy, and for decades, scientists debated where dinosaurs first appeared. The discovery of Eoraptor in Argentina in the early 1990s was a turning point. Dated to about 231 million years ago, Eoraptor is often cited as one of the most primitive known dinosaurs. Its skeleton is a mosaic of features, some shared with later theropods, the group that would eventually give rise to Tyrannosaurus Rex and modern birds. Others more primitive, linking it to earlier archosaurs. This blend of traits makes Eoraptor a key piece in the puzzle of dinosaur evolution. Alongside Eoraptor, fossils of Herrerasaurus, a larger, more robust predator, have also been found in the Ischigualasto Formation. Herrerasaurus stood about 2 meters long and likely hunted small vertebrates. Its sharp, recurved teeth and powerful hind limbs mark it as an early experiment in the predatory lifestyle that would later define many dinosaur lineages. Yet, not all early dinosaurs were meat-eaters. Saturnalia, another Triassic dinosaur from Brazil, shows adaptations for a plant-based diet, with leaf-shaped teeth and a more elongated neck. This diversity in feeding strategies, even among the earliest dinosaurs, hints at the evolutionary flexibility that would become a hallmark of the group. What about their competitors? The Triassic world was teeming with other archosaurs, many of which were larger and better established than the first dinosaurs. Rauisuchians, for example, could reach lengths of 6 meters or more and were apex predators in many ecosystems. Etosaurs, armored plant eaters, dominated the herbivore niche. For millions of years, dinosaurs remained in the background, their populations small and their ecological impact limited. So why didn't dinosaurs simply fade into obscurity, outcompeted by their more successful relatives? The answer may lie in their resilience. As the Triassic period wore on, the climate grew increasingly unstable. Volcanic eruptions, shifting continents, and fluctuating sea levels created a world in flux. In this environment, the traits that defined early dinosaurs, lightweight bodies, efficient movement, and dietary flexibility, became ever more valuable. By the end of the Triassic, a series of extinction events would sweep away many of the dominant reptile groups, clearing the stage for dinosaurs to expand and diversify. But in these early days, their story was one of survival, adaptation, and quiet innovation. As the Triassic period progressed toward its close, the stage was set for a dramatic shift in Earth's ecosystems. Around 201 million years ago, the Triassic-Jurassic extinction event struck, a global crisis that would reshape life on land and in the seas. This extinction wiped out roughly 50% of marine genera and many terrestrial species, including the dominant Rauisuchians and large amphibians. The causes remain a subject of research, but evidence points to massive volcanic eruptions in what is now the Central Atlantic magmatic province, releasing greenhouse gases that triggered climate change, ocean acidification, and habitat loss. For dinosaurs, this catastrophe was both a challenge and an opportunity. While many species perished, the groups that survived found themselves in a world with fewer competitors and predators. This ecological vacuum allowed dinosaurs to radiate rapidly, filling niches left empty by the extinction. The early Jurassic period that followed saw the rise of new dinosaur lineages, including the ancestors of the giant sauropods and the diverse theropods. One of the key factors in this success was the dinosaur body plan itself. Their upright posture and efficient locomotion gave them an edge in mobility and endurance. Their respiratory systems, inferred from fossilized bone structures, suggest a bird-like flow-through lung that could support higher metabolic rates than those of many contemporaneous reptiles. This may have allowed dinosaurs to be more active and adaptable in changing environments. Fossil evidence from the early Jurassic shows dinosaurs spreading across the fragmented continents as Pangaea began to break apart. Species like Dilophosaurus in North America and Colaphysis in what is now the southwestern United States illustrate the growing diversity of theropods, bipedal, carnivores that would dominate many ecosystems for millions of years. Meanwhile, early sauropodomorphs, the long-necked herbivores, were evolving larger body sizes and more specialized feeding strategies. Their elongated necks allowed them to reach high into the trees or sweep across wide areas of low vegetation, giving them access to food sources unavailable to other herbivores. This period also saw the first clear evidence of social behavior in dinosaurs. Trackways and bone beds suggest that some species traveled in groups, possibly for protection or cooperative hunting. Such behaviors would become increasingly important as ecosystems grew more complex. The dawn of the Jurassic was a turning point. From modest beginnings in the Triassic deserts, dinosaurs were poised to become the dominant terrestrial vertebrates for the next 135 million years. But what would their world look like as they rose to power? How did their ecosystems evolve alongside them? To understand the rise of dinosaurs, it's essential to picture the world they inherited. The Triassic period, spanning from about 252 to 201 million years ago, was a time of recovery and experimentation following the devastation of the Permian-Triassic extinction. Earth's continents were fused into a single, supercontinent, Pangaea, stretching from pole to pole and surrounded by the vast Panthalassic Ocean. This configuration shaped not only the geography but also the climate and ecosystems in which early dinosaurs evolved. Pangaea's immense size meant that much of its interior was far from the moderating influence of the sea. As a result, the climate was marked by extremes, hot, dry summers and cold winters, with little rainfall reaching the continental heartland. Fossilized soils and plant remains from this era reveal widespread deserts, punctuated by seasonal rivers and oases. In some regions, monsoonal rains brought brief periods of lush growth, but for much of the year, drought and heat prevailed. Despite these harsh conditions, life was remarkably diverse. The Triassic landscape was dominated by gymnosperms, plants like conifers, cycads, and ginkgos that could withstand arid environments. Ferns and horsetails thrived in wetter lowlands and along riverbanks. These plants formed the foundation of terrestrial food webs, supporting a variety of herbivorous reptiles and insects. But dinosaurs were not the only animals vying for survival. The Triassic world teemed with other archosaurs, including the ancestors of crocodiles and pterosaurs. Early crocodilians, such as Protosuchus, were agile, land-dwelling predators, a far cry from their modern, semi-aquatic descendants. Pterosaurs, the first vertebrates to achieve powered flight, soared above the landscape, hunting insects and small vertebrates. Therapsids, sometimes called mammal-like reptiles, were also prominent. These creatures, which included the ancestors of mammals, ranged from small burrowing insectivores to large, tusked herbivores like Placerius. For much of the Triassic, therapsids were among the dominant land animals, only gradually giving way to the rising archosaurs. In the rivers and lakes, amphibians such as Metoposaurus and Cyclotosaurus lurked, some reaching lengths of over 2 meters. The seas, meanwhile, were home to a new wave of marine reptiles, ichthyosaurs, with their fish-like bodies and large eyes, and nothosaurs, which paddled through shallow coastal waters. What emerges from this picture is a world in flux, a patchwork of habitats shaped by shifting climates, volcanic activity, and the slow drift of continents. The fossil record from places like the Ishigualasto Formation in Argentina, the Chinle Formation in the southwestern United States, and the Karoo Basin in South Africa provides snapshots of these ancient ecosystems, preserving the bones, footprints, and even the burrows of creatures long vanished. But how did these dynamic environments influence the evolution of early dinosaurs? And what role did catastrophic events play in shaping the course of life during the Triassic? The Triassic period was not just a time of environmental extremes. It was also an era of profound geological upheaval. Volcanic activity was frequent, especially along the rift zones where Pangaea was beginning to split apart. These eruptions released vast quantities of lava and gases, periodically reshaping landscapes and altering global climate. Layers of volcanic ash preserved in Triassic rock formations provide a timeline for these events, helping paleontologists date fossils and reconstruct ancient environments. Such instability had a direct impact on the evolution and distribution of life. In regions affected by volcanic eruptions, ecosystems could be wiped out almost overnight, only to be recolonized by plants and animals from surrounding areas. This cycle of destruction and renewal created a patchwork of habitats, each with its own unique community of species. For early dinosaurs, these shifting landscapes offered both challenges and opportunities. Fossil evidence from the Chinle Formation in North America illustrates this dynamic. Here, paleontologists have uncovered a rich assemblage of Triassic life: armored etosaurs, predatory Rauisuchians, early crocodilians, and a scattering of small, agile dinosaurs. The presence of petrified wood and fossilized plant material indicates that forests periodically flourished along riverbanks, providing food and shelter for herbivores. Yet, just a few meters above or below these layers, the remains of animals killed by volcanic ash or drought tell a story of sudden catastrophe. In South Africa's Karoo Basin, a similar pattern emerges. Fossil beds reveal a succession of faunas, each dominated by different groups of reptiles and synapsids, the lineage that would eventually give rise to mammals. The rise and fall of these groups can often be linked to environmental changes, shifts in rainfall, temperature, or the aftermath of volcanic eruptions. These patterns highlight a key feature of the Triassic world: resilience. Life rebounded again and again from disaster, with new species evolving to fill the gaps left by extinction. Dinosaurs, with their adaptable body plans and efficient locomotion, were particularly well suited to exploit these opportunities. Their ability to move quickly and cover large distances may have allowed them to colonize new habitats more rapidly than their competitors. But the Triassic was also a time of intense competition. In many ecosystems, dinosaurs remained minor players, outnumbered by larger and more established reptiles. Only in the final stages of the period, as environmental crises intensified, did dinosaurs begin to gain the upper hand. What then triggered the shift from a world dominated by diverse reptile groups to one where dinosaurs would reign supreme? The answer lies in the next great turning point: the Triassic-Jurassic extinction event. The Triassic-Jurassic extinction event, occurring around 201 million years ago, was one of the most significant biological crises in Earth's history. It marked the end of the Triassic period and paved the way for the Jurassic, a time when dinosaurs would rise to global dominance. But what caused this mass extinction, and how did it reshape the world's ecosystems? Geological evidence points to massive volcanic eruptions in the Central Atlantic Magmatic Province, CAMP, a vast region of flood basalt stretching across what is now eastern North America, Western Africa, and parts of Europe and South America. These eruptions released enormous volumes of lava and greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide, into the atmosphere over a relatively short geological time frame. The environmental consequences were severe. Acid rain, global warming, and ocean acidification disrupted marine and terrestrial ecosystems alike. Fossil records show a sharp decline in species diversity, with many groups of reptiles, amphibians, and marine invertebrates disappearing. Among the casualties were the dominant Rauisuchians and many large amphibians, which had previously held key ecological roles. Dinosaurs, however, were among the survivors. Their relatively small size, efficient respiratory systems, and possibly higher metabolic rates may have given them an advantage in coping with the rapidly changing conditions. With many competitors gone, dinosaurs were free to expand into new ecological niches. The aftermath of the extinction saw a burst of evolutionary innovation. Early Jurassic fossil sites reveal a proliferation of dinosaur species, including the first large sauropods and diverse theropods. The breakup of Pangaea also accelerated, creating new coastlines, mountain ranges, and isolated landmasses that fostered speciation. This extinction event was not just a reset button, it was a catalyst that transformed the trajectory of life on Earth. The dinosaurs' rise was not inevitable, but the combination of their unique adaptations and the opportunities created by catastrophe set the stage for their 135 million year reign. As we move into the Jurassic period, we will explore how dinosaurs grew in size and diversity, shaping ecosystems across the globe. From towering sauropods to fierce predators, the Jurassic world was a landscape of giants, and it all began with the resilience and adaptability forged in the Triassic. The dawn of the Jurassic period, about 201 million years ago, marked a profound turning point in the history of life on Earth. In the wake of the Triassic-Jurassic extinction, the world's ecosystems were in flux. Many of the dominant reptile groups, Rauisuchians, large amphibians, and several early crocodilian relatives, had vanished, leaving ecological vacancies across the continents. Into this void stepped the dinosaurs, a lineage that had survived the upheaval and was now poised to radiate into forms and sizes never before seen. What made this moment so pivotal? For the first time, dinosaurs faced little serious competition for the major ecological roles on land. The survivors of the extinction event were often small, adaptable, and opportunistic, traits that matched the dinosaur blueprint. As the supercontinent Pangaea began to fragment, new coastlines, mountain ranges, and isolated regions emerged, creating a patchwork of habitats ripe for colonization. The fossil record from the early Jurassic reveals a remarkable burst of dinosaur diversity. 3 major groups, sauropodomorphs, theropods, and ornithischians, began to flourish, each exploring different evolutionary pathways. Sauropodomorphs, the ancestors of the giant long-necked sauropods, started to increase in size and adapt to a fully herbivorous lifestyle. Theropods, the bipedal carnivores, diversified into a range of forms, from small agile hunters to the ancestors of later giants like Allosaurus and Tyrannosaurus. Ornithischians, the bird-hipped dinosaurs, began to experiment with new feeding strategies and body shapes, setting the stage for the armored, horned, and duck-billed dinosaurs of later periods. Paleontologists have pieced together this story from fossil sites across the globe. In South Africa's Elliott Formation, early sauropodomorphs like Massospondylus and Plateosaurus show the transition from small bipedal ancestors to larger quadrupedal herbivores. In North America, the Kayenta Formation preserves the remains of early theropods such as Dilophosaurus, a predator with distinctive crests on its skull. Meanwhile, in China, the Lufeng Formation has yielded a wealth of early Jurassic dinosaur fossils, highlighting the global nature of this evolutionary radiation. But what drove this rapid diversification? The answer lies in a combination of environmental opportunity and evolutionary innovation. With the extinction of many competitors, dinosaurs could exploit new food sources and habitats. Their upright posture, efficient lungs, and varied diets allowed them to adapt quickly to changing conditions. As Pangea continued to break apart, populations became isolated, leading to the evolution of new species uniquely suited to their environments. The rise to dominance was not instantaneous. In some regions, other reptiles, such as early crocodilians and pterosaurs, remained important players. But over the next 30 million years, dinosaurs would become the undisputed rulers of the land, evolving into the giants and marvels that define the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. What challenges and opportunities awaited these early giants as they spread across the globe? And how did their continued evolution shape the world around them? As dinosaurs radiated into new environments, the breakup of Pangea played a crucial role in shaping their evolutionary paths. The supercontinent's gradual fragmentation, driven by tectonic forces, created rift valleys, shallow seas, and isolated landmasses. These shifting landscapes not only altered climate patterns, but also separated populations, encouraging the development of distinct dinosaur faunas on different continents. In the early Jurassic, the climate was generally warm and humid, with lush forests spreading across many regions. Fossilized ferns, cycads, and conifers from this time paint a picture of verdant floodplains and river valleys, ideal habitats for large herbivores. Sauropodomorphs, in particular, took advantage of these conditions. Their elongated necks and massive bodies allowed them to browse high in the tree canopy or sweep across wide swathes of vegetation, minimizing competition with smaller herbivores. The fossil record shows that sauropodomorphs quickly diversified. In South America, species like Rheogosaurus and Coloradosaurus evolved robust limbs and barrel-shaped bodies, adaptations for supporting great weight and processing tough plant material. In Europe and Asia, similar trends occurred independently, a phenomenon known as convergent evolution, where unrelated species develop similar traits in response to comparable environmental pressures. Theropods, meanwhile, continued to refine their predatory adaptations. Early Jurassic forms like Dilophosaurus and Sianosaurus were agile, bipedal hunters with sharp teeth and strong hind limbs. Some developed crests or ornamentation on their skulls, possibly for display or species recognition. These carnivores filled a variety of ecological roles, from small insectivores to apex predators. Ornithischians, though less common in the early Jurassic, began to carve out their own niches. Small, beaked herbivores like Lesothosaurus and Scutellosaurus foraged on low-growing plants, their lightweight bodies and quick movements helping them evade predators. Over time, this group would give rise to the armored stegosaurs, horned ceratopsians, and duck-billed hadrosaurs that would dominate later periods. The spread of dinosaurs was not uniform. In some regions, they coexisted with other archosaurs, such as early crocodilians and pterosaurs, which occupied different ecological roles. Pterosaurs, for example, were the first vertebrates to achieve powered flight, hunting insects and small vertebrates above the forests and lakes. As the Jurassic period progressed, the continued breakup of Pangea led to increasing regional diversity. Isolated populations evolved unique adaptations, resulting in a rich tapestry of dinosaur life across the globe. This process of diversification, driven by both environmental change and evolutionary innovation, set the stage for the spectacular variety of forms that would characterize the rest of the Mesozoic era. But what new challenges would arise as dinosaurs grew larger and ecosystems became more complex? And how did these changes influence the next wave of dinosaur evolution? As dinosaurs continued to diversify and spread, the ecosystems of the Jurassic became increasingly complex. The rise of giant sauropods, in particular, transformed landscapes and food webs. These massive herbivores, some eventually reaching lengths of over 30 meters and weights exceeding 70 tons, required vast amounts of vegetation to sustain themselves. Their presence likely influenced the structure of forests, with high browsing pressure shaping the evolution of plant communities. Paleontologists have uncovered extensive fossil trackways, long sequences of footprints preserved in ancient mud that provide direct evidence of sauropod behavior. In places like the Broome Sandstone of Australia and the Morrison Formation of North America, these trackways reveal that sauropods often traveled in groups, possibly for protection or to exploit food resources more efficiently. The sheer size and number of these animals would have made them a dominant force in their environments, much like modern elephants in African savannas. Predatory dinosaurs also adapted to these changing conditions. As herbivores grew larger, so too did their predators. Theropods such as Megalosaurus and Allosaurus evolved powerful jaws, sharp teeth, and strong limbs for pursuing and subduing large prey. Fossilized bite marks and healed injuries on sauropod bones suggest that predator-prey interactions were intense and ongoing, with both sides locked in an evolutionary arms race. Meanwhile, smaller dinosaurs and other reptiles filled a variety of ecological roles. Ornithischians diversified into new forms, some developing armor or specialized teeth for processing tough plants. Early mammals, though still small and nocturnal, began to exploit niches unavailable to dinosaurs, such as burrowing or feeding on insects at night. The continued breakup of Pangaea further accelerated these trends. As continents drifted apart, isolated populations of dinosaurs evolved independently, leading to the emergence of unique species in different regions. This geographic separation, combined with ongoing environmental change, fueled a wave of innovation and adaptation. By the Middle Jurassic, dinosaurs had become the dominant terrestrial vertebrates on every continent. Their success was the result of a combination of inherited traits, upright posture, efficient lungs, and diverse diets, and the opportunities created by mass extinction and continental drift. The stage was now set for the Age of Giants, when sauropods would reach their greatest sizes and carnivores would become apex predators in ecosystems across the globe. But what did these Jurassic landscapes look like? And how did the largest dinosaurs ever to walk the Earth shape the world around them? The Jurassic period, spanning from about 201 to 145 million years ago, is often remembered as the Age of Giants. During this time, some of the largest animals ever to walk the Earth evolved. Towering sauropods, whose sheer size continues to inspire awe and scientific curiosity. But how did these dinosaurs grow so large, and what did their world look like? The fossil record from the Jurassic is rich with evidence of sauropods, long-necked, long-tailed herbivores with massive bodies and pillar-like legs. Iconic genera such as Brachiosaurus, Diplodocus, and Apatosaurus have been unearthed in North America, Africa, and Europe, their bones often found in ancient floodplain deposits. These animals could reach lengths of over 30 meters and weigh as much as 70 tons, far surpassing any land animal alive today. What allowed sauropods to attain such colossal sizes? Their anatomy reveals a suite of remarkable adaptations. Their necks, composed of up to 19 elongated vertebrae, enabled them to reach high into the forest canopy or sweep across wide areas of low vegetation. Air sacs within their bones, similar to those found in modern birds, made their skeletons lighter and more efficient for supporting great weight. Their columnar legs, arranged directly beneath the body, distributed mass evenly and allowed for slow but steady movement across vast distances. Paleontologists have also uncovered evidence of sauropod herding behavior. In places like the Morrison Formation of Western North America, parallel trackways suggest that groups of sauropods traveled together, possibly migrating in search of food and water. The presence of multiple age groups within bone beds hints at complex social structures, with juveniles and adults moving as cohesive units. The environments these giants inhabited were equally impressive. Jurassic landscapes were dominated by lush forests of conifers, cycads and ferns, interspersed with rivers, lakes and floodplains. The climate was generally warm and humid, supporting abundant plant life to sustain large herbivore populations. Fossilized pollen and plant remains, from sites like the Tendaguru beds in Tanzania and the Lourinhã Formation in Portugal, provide a window into these ancient ecosystems. But life as a giant was not without challenges. Sauropods needed to consume vast quantities of vegetation. Estimates suggest up to several hundred kilograms per day for the largest species. Their teeth were adapted for stripping leaves rather than chewing, and their enormous digestive systems likely relied on fermentation to break down tough plant material. This strategy, while effective, required constant feeding and movement to find new food sources. How did these giants interact with other dinosaurs and the predators that stalked them? And what can their bones and trackways tell us about the dynamics of Jurassic ecosystems? The presence of such enormous herbivores inevitably shaped the communities around them. Where sauropods roamed, the landscape bore their mark: trampled vegetation, churned up riverbanks, and well-worn migration routes. Their constant movement in search of food and water likely influenced the distribution of plant species, much as modern elephants do in African savannas. Fossilized trackways, some stretching for hundreds of meters, provide direct evidence of these ancient migrations. In the Broome Sandstone of Australia, for example, sauropod footprints up to 1.7 meters long have been found, indicating the passage of truly massive animals. But sauropods did not live in isolation. They shared their world with a variety of other dinosaurs, each adapted to different ecological roles. Stegosaurs, with their distinctive plates and tail spikes, browsed on low-growing plants and may have used their armor for defense or display. Ornithopods, such as Camptosaurus, were agile herbivores capable of moving on 2 or 4 legs, feeding on a range of vegetation. Predators, too, were a constant presence. Large theropods like Allosaurus and Torvosaurus stalked the floodplains, their powerful jaws and serrated teeth adapted for tackling large prey. Fossil evidence of bite marks on sauropod bones, as well as healed injuries, suggests that predation attempts were common, though not always successful. In some cases, the sheer size of adult sauropods may have deterred all but the most determined or desperate carnivores, with juveniles and weakened individuals being more vulnerable. The interactions between these giants and their environment were complex. Sauropods' feeding habits could strip entire areas of foliage, prompting herds to move on and allowing plant communities time to recover. Their dung, rich in nutrients, would have fertilized the soil, supporting new growth and sustaining a cycle of abundance and renewal. Paleontologists use a variety of tools to reconstruct these ancient worlds. Fossilized bones provide clues about anatomy and growth, while trackways reveal patterns of movement and behavior. Isotope analysis of sauropod teeth can even indicate the types of plants they ate and the distances they traveled between feeding grounds. Together, these lines of evidence paint a vivid picture of life during the Jurassic, a world dominated by giants, shaped by their needs and movements. Yet, even in this age of titans, change was constant. Shifting climates, volcanic eruptions, and the ongoing breakup of continents continued to reshape habitats and drive evolution. New species emerged, others vanished, and the story of the Jurassic world unfolded in a dynamic, ever-changing landscape. What new adaptations would arise as dinosaurs continued to evolve? And how did the balance between predator and prey shape the next chapter in their history? The evolutionary arms race between sauropods and their predators drove remarkable adaptations on both sides. As sauropods grew larger and more numerous, theropod dinosaurs responded with their own innovations. Allosaurus, one of the most iconic Jurassic predators, exemplifies this trend. With a skull nearly a meter long, serrated teeth, and powerful forelimbs tipped with large claws, Allosaurus was well equipped to tackle formidable prey. Studies of its jaw mechanics suggest it could deliver slashing bites, inflicting deep wounds rather than relying solely on crushing force. Fossil evidence reveals that encounters between predators and sauropods were frequent and often violent. Healed bite marks on sauropod bones indicate that some individuals survived attacks, while others show signs of fatal injuries. In rare cases, paleontologists have found teeth from theropods embedded in sauropod bones, offering direct evidence of predation or scavenging. These interactions were not limited to the largest dinosaurs. Smaller theropods, such as Ceratosaurus and Ornitholestes, likely targeted juveniles or scavenged carcasses left by larger predators. The social behavior of sauropods may have been a key defense against predation. Traveling in herds, as suggested by trackways and bone beds containing multiple individuals of different ages, would have provided safety in numbers. Juveniles could be protected within the group, while adults use their sheer size as a deterrent. Some paleontologists propose that sauropods communicated through low-frequency sounds, possibly to coordinate movement or warn of danger, though direct evidence for this remains limited. Beyond predator-prey dynamics, the Jurassic world was a tapestry of interdependent species. Stegosaurs, with their distinctive plates and spikes, may have used these features for both defense and thermoregulation, helping to dissipate heat in the warm Jurassic climate. Ornithopods, meanwhile, developed increasingly complex teeth and jaws for processing tough vegetation, allowing them to exploit new food sources as plant communities evolved. The ongoing breakup of Pangaea continued to shape dinosaur evolution. As continents drifted apart, isolated populations adapted to local conditions, leading to the emergence of unique species in different regions. In Africa, the Tendaguru beds have yielded a diverse array of sauropods, stegosaurs, and theropods, while Europe's Jurassic deposits reveal their own distinctive faunas. By the end of the Jurassic, dinosaurs had reached an extraordinary peak of diversity and size. The ecosystems they inhabited were dynamic and interconnected, shaped by the constant interplay of climate, geography, and evolutionary innovation. The Age of Giants was in full swing, but new challenges and opportunities awaited as the world continued to change. What would happen as the Jurassic gave way to the Cretaceous, and how would dinosaurs adapt to the shifting landscapes and climates of the next era? The story of dinosaurs is not just one of giants, but of the intricate dance between hunters and the hunted. Throughout the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods, ecosystems teemed with a remarkable variety of carnivorous dinosaurs, theropods, ranging from nimble, chicken-sized predators to apex hunters that rivaled the largest land carnivores in history. Their prey, meanwhile, evolved a dazzling array of defenses, from armor and horns to sheer size and speed. Theropods were the dominant carnivores of the Mesozoic. This group included not only the famous Allosaurus and Tyrannosaurus Rex, but also a host of lesser-known species that filled every conceivable predatory niche. In the Jurassic, Allosaurus reigned as one of the top predators in North America and Europe. With a robust skull, recurved teeth, and powerful hind limbs, it was built for ambush and attack. Fossil evidence, including healed bite marks and embedded teeth, shows that Allosaurus often targeted large sauropods, sometimes hunting in groups or scavenging carcasses. But not all theropods were giants. Compsognathus, for example, was a small, agile predator from the late Jurassic of Europe, measuring just over a meter in length. Its slender build and sharp teeth suggest a diet of insects, lizards, and small vertebrates. These smaller theropods played a crucial role in controlling populations of other animals and recycling nutrients through scavenging. The Cretaceous period saw the rise of even more specialized predators. Early tyrannosaurs, such as Dillon and Gorgosaurus, began as relatively small, fast hunters before evolving into the colossal T-Rex by the end of the era. In the southern continents, abelisaurids like Carnotaurus developed short, deep skulls and tiny arms, while dromaeosaurs, often called raptors, emerged with sickle-shaped claws and evidence of complex hunting strategies. How did these predators catch their prey? Fossilized trackways and bone beds provide tantalizing clues. Some sites show parallel tracks of multiple theropods, hinting at possible pack behavior, though whether these dinosaurs truly hunted cooperatively or simply congregated around food sources remains debated. Bite marks on bones, healed injuries, and even fossilized stomach contents reveal a world of constant struggle, where both predator and prey had to adapt or perish. Meanwhile, herbivorous dinosaurs were far from defenseless. Stegosaurs wielded spiked tails, ankylosaurs developed bony armor and clubbed tails, and ceratopsians like Triceratops sported formidable horns and frills. Even hadrosaurs, the duck-billed dinosaurs, relied on keen senses and herd behavior to detect and evade danger. What can the fossil record tell us about the strategies and counter-strategies that shaped this ancient arms race? And how did the balance between predator and prey drive the evolution of some of the most extraordinary creatures to ever walk the earth? The fossil record offers a wealth of evidence for the dynamic interactions between predators and prey during the Mesozoic. One of the most striking examples comes from the Cleveland Lloyd Dinosaur Quarry in Utah, where the remains of dozens of Allosaurus and other dinosaurs are preserved together. The high concentration of carnivores at this site has sparked debate among paleontologists. Was it a predator trap, a drought-stricken waterhole, or the result of repeated hunting and scavenging events? Whatever the cause, the site provides a rare glimpse into the lives and deaths of Jurassic predators. Bite marks and healed wounds on bones are direct evidence of predation and combat. Sauropod vertebrae with deep gouges match the tooth patterns of Allosaurus, suggesting attacks on living animals rather than mere scavenging. In some cases, bones show signs of healing, indicating that prey survived initial attacks. Other fossils, such as the famous fighting dinosaurs from Mongolia, a Velociraptor, and a Protoceratops locked in combat, capture moments of life and death frozen in time. Theropods themselves were not immune to injury. Many skeletons show broken bones, infections, and even evidence of intraspecific combat, fights between members of the same species. Tyrannosaurus Rex skulls, for example, often bear puncture wounds that match the teeth of other tyrannosaurs, hinting at fierce battles for territory mates or food. But predation was only one side of the evolutionary arms race. Herbivorous dinosaurs developed a stunning variety of defenses. Ankylosaurs, with their heavy armor and tail clubs, could inflict serious damage on attackers. Fossilized tail vertebrae show signs of stress fractures, likely from swinging their clubs in defense. Ceratopsians, such as Triceratops, evolved massive skulls with horns and frills. Some paleontologists believe these features were used in combat with predators, while others suggest they played roles in display or species recognition. Speed and agility were also crucial. Ornithopods like Hypsilophodon and hadrosaurs relied on keen senses and rapid movement to escape danger. Fossilized trackways sometimes show sudden changes in direction or groups of animals moving together, possibly in response to a predator's approach. The ability to detect threats early and flee as a group would have been a powerful survival strategy. Predators, in turn, adapted to these defenses. Dromaeosaurs, with their sickle-shaped claws and flexible tails, may have used coordinated attacks to bring down larger prey. Some theropods developed binocular vision, enhancing depth perception for tracking and ambushing targets. The diversity of tooth shapes and jaw mechanics among carnivorous dinosaurs reflects a range of hunting and feeding strategies, from bone-crushing bites to precision slashing. This ongoing contest between hunter and hunted drove the evolution of ever more specialized adaptations. The fossil record, with its scars, trackways, and rare moments of direct interaction, preserves the evidence of this ancient struggle, a testament to the complexity and dynamism of prehistoric ecosystems. What new discoveries might further illuminate the lives of these remarkable animals? And how did the evolution of feathers, colors, and display structures add new dimensions to the world of dinosaurs? As paleontologists continue to unearth fossils from around the world, new discoveries are constantly reshaping our understanding of dinosaur behavior and ecology. One of the most significant advances in recent decades has been the realization that many theropods, and even some herbivores, were covered in feathers or feather-like structures. This revelation has profound implications for how we interpret the arms race between predators and prey. Feathers, initially evolved for insulation or display, may have also played a role in predation and defense. In smaller theropods, such as Microraptor and Velociraptor, feathers could have aided in maneuverability, allowing for quick turns and leaps during a hunt. Some species, like Sinosauropteryx, show evidence of banded coloration, which may have provided camouflage in dappled forest light, helping both predators and prey avoid detection. Coloration and display structures became increasingly important as dinosaurs diversified. Elaborate crests, frills, and horns, seen in species like Dilophosaurus, Corythosaurus, and Triceratops, were likely used for communication, mate attraction, and intimidation. These features could signal strength or health to rivals and potential mates, but they may also have served to deter predators by making individuals appear larger or more formidable. The evolution of social behavior added another layer of complexity to the predator-prey dynamic. Evidence from bone beds, nesting sites, and trackways suggests that many dinosaurs lived and moved in groups. Herding could provide safety in numbers, with individuals on the periphery acting as sentinels while others fed or rested. For predators, coordinated hunting may have increased the chances of success against large or well-defended prey. Fossilized stomach contents and coprolites, fossilized dung, offer direct evidence of diet and feeding behavior. In some cases, the remains of prey species are preserved within the rib cages of predators, confirming predator-prey relationships. Analysis of coprolites reveals not only what dinosaurs ate, but also how efficiently they digested their food. Information that helps reconstruct ancient food webs and energy flow within ecosystems. Despite these advances, many questions remain. How often did large theropods hunt cooperatively, and how much did they rely on scavenging? To what extent did herbivores use their horns and armor in actual combat versus display? Ongoing discoveries in new technologies, such as CT scanning and chemical analysis, continue to shed light on these mysteries, bringing us ever closer to understanding the lives of these extraordinary animals. As the Mesozoic world evolved, so too did the ways dinosaurs interacted with each other and their environment. The next chapter in their story reveals how feathers, colors, and display structures transform not only the appearance of dinosaurs, but also the very nature of their social lives and survival strategies. For much of the 20th century, dinosaurs were depicted as scaly, drab, and reptilian, creatures of muted greens and browns, their skin bare except for the occasional row of spikes or plates. But in the last few decades, a revolution in paleontology has upended this image. Fossil discoveries, especially from the rich deposits of northeastern China, have revealed that many dinosaurs were anything but dull. Feathers, vibrant colors, and elaborate display structures were far more common than once imagined, transforming our understanding of how these animals looked and lived. The first hints came in the mid-1990s, when paleontologists working in Liaoning province uncovered exquisitely preserved fossils of small theropods with clear impressions of filamentous structures, precursors to modern feathers. Sinosauropteryx, a turkey-sized dinosaur from the early Cretaceous, was among the first non-avian dinosaurs found with a covering of simple, hair-like filaments. Soon after, more complex feathers were discovered on species like Caudipteryx and Microraptor, some of which had fully developed veined feathers on their arms and tails. These discoveries confirmed that feathers did not originate with birds, but evolved much earlier within the theropod lineage. Initially, feathers likely served as insulation, helping small dinosaurs regulate their body temperature. As they became more elaborate, feathers took on new roles: display, camouflage, and eventually, flight. In Microraptor, for example, long feathers on both the arms and legs formed a four-winged gliding surface, suggesting an intermediate stage between ground-dwelling dinosaurs and true powered flight. But feathers were not the only means of display. Many dinosaurs sported dramatic crests, frills, and horns. Dilophosaurus had paired crests on its skull, while hadrosaurs like Corythosaurus and Parasaurolophus developed elaborate, hollow head crests that may have been used to produce sounds or visual signals. Ceratopsians, such as Triceratops and Styracosaurus, evolved massive frills and horns, which could serve as both defensive weapons and social signals. The question of color, long a matter of speculation, has also begun to yield to scientific investigation. In some exceptional fossils, microscopic structures called melanosomes have been preserved. By comparing the shape and arrangement of these pigment-containing organelles to those in modern birds, scientists can infer the likely colors and patterns of ancient feathers. Sinosauropteryx, for instance, appears to have had a striped tail and a rusty reddish hue, while Anchiornis may have sported a striking combination of black, white, and orange. These revelations have profound implications for how we imagine dinosaur behavior and ecology. Colorful feathers and display structures could have played roles in mate attraction, species recognition, and even warning signals to predators. The world of dinosaurs, once thought to be a realm of drab giants, was likely as vibrant and dynamic as any modern ecosystem. How did these features evolve, and what do they reveal about the social lives of dinosaurs? And what new discoveries might further illuminate the true appearance of these ancient animals? The evolution of feathers and display structures in dinosaurs is a story of adaptation, innovation, and sometimes sheer spectacle. As paleontologists have uncovered more fossils with preserved skin and feather impressions, it's become clear that these features were not limited to a handful of small theropods. Instead, A surprising diversity of dinosaurs, across different sizes and lineages, exhibited some form of filamentous covering or elaborate ornamentation. In the fossil beds of Liaoning, China, discoveries like Tyrannosaurus wali have challenged old assumptions. This early tyrannosauroid, weighing over 1,400 kilograms, was covered in long, shaggy filaments. The presence of such insulation in a large-bodied predator suggests that feathers were not just for flight or display, but also played a crucial role in thermoregulation, helping dinosaurs maintain stable body temperatures in cooler climates. Feathers also opened new possibilities for communication and social interaction. In modern birds, plumage color and pattern are central to courtship, territory defense, and species recognition. The same was likely true for many feathered dinosaurs. The discovery of pigment structures in fossils like Anchiornis and Microraptor has allowed scientists to reconstruct not just the presence of feathers, but their actual colors and patterns. These reconstructions reveal animals with bold stripes, spots, and iridescent sheens, visual signals that could be seen from a distance or in the dappled light of prehistoric forests. Display structures were not limited to feathers. Bone crests, frills, and horns evolved independently in multiple dinosaur groups. Hadrosaurs, or duck-billed dinosaurs, developed hollow cranial crests that may have functioned as resonating chambers, amplifying calls across the landscape. CT scans of Parasaurolophus skulls show complex internal passages, supporting the idea that these dinosaurs could produce low-frequency sounds, perhaps for communication within herds or to deter predators. Ceratopsians, meanwhile, took ornamentation to an extreme. The frills and horns of Triceratops, Pecorinosaurus, and Styracosaurus were not only defensive weapons, but also likely played roles in social behavior. Some paleontologists propose that the diversity of frill shapes and horn arrangements helped individuals recognize members of their own species or signal maturity and fitness to potential mates. Evidence of blood vessel impressions on frill bones suggests that these structures may have been brightly colored in life, further enhancing their visual impact. Even among armored dinosaurs like ankylosaurs and stegosaurs, display features were important. The plates of Stegosaurus may have been used for both thermoregulation and visual signaling, while the tail clubs and spikes of ankylosaurs could serve as deterrents to predators and as displays to rivals. The evolution of feathers, colors, and display structures reflects the complex social lives of dinosaurs. These features were shaped by natural selection, sexual selection, and the demands of survival in dynamic environments. As new fossils continue to be discovered and analytical techniques improve, our picture of dinosaur appearance and behavior grows ever more vivid and nuanced. What do these discoveries tell us about the daily lives of dinosaurs? And how did these adaptations influence their reproductive strategies, growth, and family life? The implications of feathers, colors, and display structures extend far beyond appearance. They offer a window into the social and reproductive lives of dinosaurs. In modern birds, elaborate plumage and displays are often linked to courtship rituals, mate selection, and the rearing of young. By analogy, many paleontologists believe that similar behaviors were present in their dinosaur ancestors. Evidence for complex social interactions comes from both fossilized remains and the environments in which they are found. In some sites, multiple individuals of the same species are preserved together, suggesting group living or at least seasonal gatherings. The presence of display features, whether feathers, crests, or horns, would have facilitated communication within these groups, helping individuals establish dominance, attract mates, or coordinate movement. The discovery of nesting sites and fossilized eggs adds another layer to this picture. Some dinosaurs, such as the oviraptorosaurs, are preserved in brooding postures atop their nests, wings spread protectively over their eggs. This behavior, strikingly similar to that of modern birds, suggests that feathers may have played a role in keeping eggs warm and shielding them from the elements. The presence of colorful or patterned feathers could also have helped parents recognize their own offspring or signal readiness to mate. Display structures likely influenced reproductive strategies as well. In species with elaborate crests or frills, individuals with the most impressive features may have been more successful in attracting mates, driving the evolution of ever more extravagant ornamentation. This process, known as sexual selection, is a powerful force in shaping animal diversity, and the fossil record of dinosaurs provides compelling evidence for its role. The interplay between display, Social behavior and survival is also evident in the fossil record. Injuries and pathologies on display structures, such as broken horns or damaged crests, suggest that these features were sometimes used in combat, either between rivals or in defense against predators. The costs and benefits of such adaptations would have influenced not only individual fitness, but also the evolutionary trajectory of entire lineages. As paleontologists continue to uncover new fossils and develop innovative analytical techniques, our understanding of dinosaur appearance and behavior becomes ever more detailed. The world of the Mesozoic was not a static tableau of lumbering giants, but a vibrant, dynamic ecosystem filled with color, sound, and social complexity. With this richer picture in mind, the next chapter explores how dinosaurs reproduced, grew, and cared for their young, revealing the intimate details of family life in the age of dinosaurs. For decades, dinosaurs were imagined as solitary, cold-blooded reptiles, laying their eggs and abandoning them to fate. But a wealth of fossil evidence has dramatically revised this view, revealing that many dinosaurs engaged in complex reproductive behaviors, cared for their young, and experienced rapid dynamic growth. The story of dinosaur family life is one of nurturing, adaptation, and evolutionary innovation. The first major clues came from the discovery of fossilized dinosaur eggs and nests. In the 1920s, an American Museum of Natural History expedition to Mongolia's Gobi Desert uncovered the first dinosaur eggs ever found, attributed to the enigmatic Protoceratops. Later, in Montana's Two Medicine Formation, paleontologist Jack Horner and his team unearthed a remarkable sight: a series of fossilized nests belonging to the Hadrosaur maiasaura, meaning good mother lizard. These nests contained eggs, hatchlings, and juveniles at various stages of development, all clustered together in what appeared to be a communal nesting ground. The arrangement of the nests and the presence of young dinosaurs too large to fit inside eggs suggested that maiasaura parents returned to the nest to care for their offspring after hatching. Some juveniles showed signs of rapid growth, with bone histology, microscopic analysis of bone tissue, revealing growth rings much like those in trees. These rings indicated that young dinosaurs grew quickly, reaching near adult size in just a few years. Such rapid growth would have been essential for survival in a world filled with predators. Other discoveries have reinforced the idea of parental care. In Mongolia, fossils of oviraptorosaurs, once thought to be egg thieves, were found in brooding postures atop their nests, wings spread protectively over their eggs. The arrangement of eggs in circular patterns and the presence of embryos inside some eggs suggest careful nest construction and attentive incubation, behaviors strikingly similar to those of modern birds. Not all dinosaurs, however, were devoted parents. Some species appear to have laid their eggs and left them to develop on their own, as many modern reptiles do. The diversity of nesting strategies among dinosaurs reflects the wide range of ecological niches they occupied and the evolutionary pressures they faced. The fossil record also provides insights into the social lives of young dinosaurs. Bone beds containing multiple juveniles of the same species suggest that some dinosaurs formed creches, or groups of young that lived and traveled together, possibly for protection or to learn essential survival skills. In some cases, trackways show parallel footprints of juveniles moving in unison, hinting at coordinated group behavior. How did these family dynamics influence the survival and success of dinosaurs? And what can the study of growth and development tell us about the lives of these ancient animals? The study of dinosaur growth and development has revealed a world of astonishing speed and transformation. Unlike most modern reptiles, which grow slowly and steadily throughout their lives, many dinosaurs experienced rapid bird-like growth spurts during their juvenile years. This pattern is evident in the microscopic structure of their bones. When paleontologists examine thin sections of dinosaur bones under a microscope, they often find tightly packed growth rings, evidence of fast, sustained growth, followed by more widely spaced rings as the animal reached maturity. For example, studies of Tyrannosaurus Rex bones show that these predators could gain several hundred kilograms per year during adolescence, reaching adult size in less than 2 decades. Similarly, sauropods like Apatosaurus and Diplodocus grew from hatchlings the size of a house cat to multi-ton giants in just 10 to 20 years. This rapid growth would have helped young dinosaurs outpace predators and compete for resources, but it also required enormous amounts of food and efficient metabolic systems. Growth rates varied widely among dinosaur groups. Small theropods and ornithopods often reach maturity in just a few years, while larger species took longer to grow, but still far outpaced the growth rates of modern reptiles. The presence of medullary bone, a special tissue used by modern birds to store calcium for eggshell production, has been identified in some female dinosaur fossils, providing direct evidence of reproductive physiology similar to that of their avian descendants. The fossil record also preserves rare glimpses of dinosaur embryos and hatchlings. In some cases, eggs contain well-preserved skeletons, allowing scientists to study the earlier stages of development. These embryos show that many dinosaurs were well developed at hatching, with strong limbs and open eyes, ready to move and feed almost immediately. In other species, hatchlings were more altricial, born less developed and dependent on parental care for survival. Nesting sites offer further clues about reproductive strategies. Some dinosaurs, like Maiasaura, built large communal nesting grounds with dozens of nests clustered together. Others, such as certain sauropods, laid their eggs in shallow pits or trenches, sometimes returning to the same sites year after year. The arrangement and spacing of nests suggest that some species exhibited colonial nesting behavior, which could provide protection from predators and environmental hazards. Parental care, where it occurred, likely took many forms. Brooding adults may have used their bodies and feathers to regulate nest temperature, shield eggs from the sun, or protect hatchlings from predators. In some cases, adults may have brought food to the nest or led their young to feeding grounds. The diversity of nesting and parenting strategies among dinosaurs mirrors the variety seen in modern birds and reptiles, reflecting the adaptability and evolutionary success of these ancient animals. What challenges did young dinosaurs face as they grew, and how did their early experiences shape their chances of survival? And what does the fossil record reveal about the transition from nestling to independent adult? The journey from hatchling to adult was fraught with peril for young dinosaurs. Fossil evidence suggests that mortality rates were high, especially in the earlier stages of life. Predators, environmental hazards, and competition for food all pose significant threats. In some nesting sites, the remains of eggs and hatchlings are found alongside those of small theropods or mammals, indicating that nests were frequent targets for hungry predators. Despite these dangers, some young dinosaurs benefited from group living and parental care. In species like Maiasaura, the presence of multiple juveniles at different growth stages within a single nesting ground suggests that young remained in the nest for extended periods, possibly weeks or months. During this time, they may have been fed and protected by adults, much as modern bird chicks are today. This extended care would have increased the chances of survival for at least some offspring, offsetting the high risks of predation and environmental stress. As juveniles grew, their bones and muscles developed rapidly, preparing them for the challenges of independent life. Trackways from sites in North America and Asia show that young dinosaurs often traveled together, sometimes in groups separate from adults. These creches may have provided safety in numbers, as well as opportunities for social learning, developing the skills needed to find food, avoid predators, and interact with others of their kind. The transition to adulthood brought new challenges. As dinosaurs matured, their growth slowed and their bodies changed, sometimes dramatically. In ceratopsians, for example, the frills and horns that defined adult appearance developed gradually, with juveniles sporting smaller, less elaborate ornamentation. In hadrosaurs, the distinctive crests and beaks became more pronounced with age, likely signaling maturity and readiness to breed. Bone histology reveals that many dinosaurs experienced periods of rapid growth followed by slower, more stable phases as they reached adult size. Some species, like Tyrannosaurus Rex, show evidence of growth spurts during adolescence, while others, such as sauropods, maintained steady growth over longer periods. These patterns reflect a balance between the need to grow quickly, escaping the vulnerable juvenile stage, and the demands of maintaining a large, complex body. The fossil record also hints at the social lives of adult dinosaurs. In some cases, bone beds contain individuals of all ages, suggesting that some species lived in multi-generational groups. In others, adults and juveniles are found separately, indicating different social structures or behaviors. The diversity of growth and social strategies among dinosaurs mirrors the complexity of their environments and the evolutionary pressures they faced. By studying the intimate details of nesting, Growth and family life. Paleontologists have revealed a world where dinosaurs were not just survivors, but caregivers, teachers, and members of dynamic social groups. These insights challenge old stereotypes and bring us closer to understanding the true nature of these remarkable animals. As dinosaurs continued to evolve, new forms of defense and display emerged: horns, clubs, and armor that would define some of the most iconic species of the Mesozoic. One of the most striking features of many herbivorous dinosaurs was their elaborate defensive adaptations: horns, bony frills, tail clubs, and armor plates that served to protect them from predators and, in some cases, to communicate with rivals or mates. These structures evolved independently in multiple dinosaur groups, showcasing the diverse strategies that arose in response to the constant threat of predation during the Mesozoic. Ceratopsians, the horned dinosaurs, are perhaps the most famous for their impressive cranial ornamentation. Species like Triceratops, Styracosaurus, and Pachyrhinosaurus sported large horns above their eyes and noses, along with massive frills extending from the back of the skull. These features were not merely decorative. Fossil evidence, including healed injuries and bite marks on frills and horns, suggests they were used in combat, both against predators and in intraspecific battles for dominance or mates. The function of ceratopsian frills has been debated extensively. Some paleontologists argue that the frills provided protection for the neck and shoulders during fights, while others propose they served primarily as display structures, signaling species identity or individual fitness. The presence of blood vessel impressions on frill bones indicates that these areas may have been brightly colored in life, enhancing their visual impact. Ankylosaurs, the armored dinosaurs, took defense to another level. Covered in thick bony plates called osteoderms embedded in their skin, ankylosaurs were living tanks. Their bodies were protected by rows of armor plates, spikes, and, in some species, massive tail clubs capable of delivering powerful blows. Fossilized tail vertebrae show signs of stress fractures, likely caused by the force of swinging these clubs in defense against predators. Stegosaurs, with their iconic double row of plates running along their backs and spiked tails, combine defense with display. The function of their plates remains a subject of research, with hypotheses ranging from thermoregulation to species recognition and intimidation. The tail spikes, or thagomizers, were almost certainly weapons, capable of inflicting serious damage on attacking theropods. These defensive adaptations were part of a broader evolutionary arms race. As herbivores developed better protection, predators evolved stronger jaws, sharper teeth, and more sophisticated hunting strategies. The fossil record preserves evidence of this ongoing conflict. Bite marks on armor plates, healed wounds on horns, and even broken tail clubs. Beyond defense, horns, frills, and armor also played roles in social behavior. In some species, the size and shape of these structures varied between males and females, suggesting sexual dimorphism linked to mating displays. Combat between rivals may have involved ritualized clashes using horns or frills, much like modern deer or antelope. The diversity and complexity of these adaptations highlight the dynamic interplay between survival and social interaction in dinosaur evolution. As we explore these features, we gain insight not only into how dinosaurs defended themselves, but also into how they communicated, competed, and thrived in a world filled with danger and opportunity. What do biomechanical studies reveal about the effectiveness of these weapons? And how did these adaptations influence dinosaur behavior and ecology? Biomechanical studies have provided remarkable insights into how horns, clubs, and armor functioned in the daily lives of dinosaurs. By analyzing fossilized bones with modern imaging techniques and computer modeling, scientists can estimate the strength, flexibility, and potential uses of these structures, shedding light on both their defensive capabilities and their roles in social behavior. Take the tail club of ankylosaurs, for example. Detailed analysis of the vertebrae, tendons, and bony knobs that made up the club shows that it was not just a passive shield. The tail was stiffened by interlocking vertebrae, allowing the animal to swing it with considerable force. Some estimates suggest that a large ankylosaur, such as Ankylosaurus magniventris, could deliver a blow strong enough to break the bones of a predator's leg. Fossil evidence supports this. Some theropod bones from the same formations show healed fractures consistent with such injuries. Ceratopsian horns and frills have also been the subject of biomechanical scrutiny. CT scans and 3D reconstructions of Triceratops skulls reveal that the horns were solid and well anchored, capable of withstanding significant stress. The frill, while lighter and more fragile, could still absorb impacts during head-to-head clashes. Healed lesions and puncture marks on fossil frills suggest that these dinosaurs engaged in ritualized combat, locking horns with rivals in contests for dominance or mating rights. The variety of horn shapes and frill sizes among ceratopsians points to a complex interplay of defense, display, and species recognition. Stegosaur plates and tail spikes present a different puzzle. While the plates were too thin to serve as effective armor, their vascularized structure hints at a role in thermoregulation, helping the animal absorb or dissipate heat. The tail spikes, on the other hand, were robust and well-positioned for use as weapons. Fossilized vertebrae from predatory dinosaurs sometimes show puncture wounds that match the size and shape of stegosaur spikes, providing direct evidence of their effectiveness in defense. The evolution of these features was not solely driven by predation. In many cases, horns, frills, and armor also served as signals within species. Differences in ornamentation could help individuals recognize members of their own species, select mates, or establish social hierarchies. In some ceratopsians, juveniles had smaller or less elaborate frills, which developed as they matured, mirroring patterns seen in modern animals with sexually selected traits. The effectiveness of these adaptations depended on a delicate balance. Too much armor or overly large horns could hinder movement or require excessive energy to grow and maintain. Natural selection favored designs that provided protection and social advantages without compromising survival. By combining fossil evidence with biomechanical analysis, paleontologists are able to reconstruct not just the appearance of these remarkable animals, but also the ways they lived, fought, and interacted. The arms race between predator and prey drove a continual cycle of innovation, shaping the evolution of some of the most iconic dinosaurs in history. How did these defensive and display adaptations influence the broader ecosystems in which dinosaurs lived? And what do they reveal about the intelligence and sensory abilities of these ancient creatures? The impact of horns, clubs, and armor extended beyond individual survival. They influenced the structure and dynamics of entire ecosystems. In habitats where heavily armored or well-defended herbivores were common, predators faced greater challenges, which in turn shaped their hunting strategies and even their evolutionary paths. This interplay contributed to the remarkable diversity of both defensive and offensive adaptations seen throughout the Mesozoic. For example, in regions dominated by ankylosaurs and ceratopsians, large theropods like Tyrannosaurus Rex and Daspletosaurus evolved powerful jaws and robust teeth capable of crushing bone and armor. Some paleontologists suggest that the evolution of such formidable predators was, at least in part, a response to the increasing defenses of their prey. The fossil record preserves evidence of this arms race: bite marks on ankylosaur armor, puncture wounds on ceratopsian frills, and even healed injuries that testify to the resilience of both predator and prey. The presence of well-defended herbivores also affected the behavior and organization of dinosaur communities. In some environments, herding and group living became more common, providing additional protection against predators. Trackways and bone beds indicate that many armored dinosaurs moved in groups, with juveniles and less well-defended individuals benefiting from the safety of numbers. This social structure, combined with physical defenses, made it even more difficult for predators to single out and capture prey. Display adaptations, horns, frills, and plates added another layer of complexity to these ecosystems. By facilitating communication and recognition within species, these features helped maintain social cohesion and reduce conflict. In some cases, they may have allowed multiple closely related species to coexist by signaling differences in behavior, habitat preference, or mating rituals. The evolution of such elaborate structures also raises questions about the intelligence and sensory abilities of dinosaurs. To use horns or frills effectively in combat or display, individuals needed to recognize rivals, assess threats, and coordinate their actions. This implies a level of cognitive and sensory sophistication that goes beyond simple instinct. Studies of dinosaur brain cases and endocasts, natural or digital molds of the brain cavity, suggest that some groups, particularly theropods and certain ornithischians, had relatively large brains and well-developed senses. For instance, the placement of eyes on the sides of ceratopsian skulls provided a wide field of view, useful for detecting predators. The olfactory bulbs in some ankylosaurs were enlarged, indicating a keen sense of smell. These adaptations, combined with social behaviors and complex communication, paint a picture of dinosaurs as active, responsive participants in their environments, not just passive victims or mindless eating machines. The interplay between defense, display, and intelligence shaped the evolutionary trajectory of dinosaurs for millions of years. As we move forward, the next chapter delves deeper into the minds and senses of these ancient animals, exploring what the fossil record reveals about their intelligence, perception, and behavior. When we think of dinosaurs, the image of massive lumbering beasts often comes to mind. Yet, beneath their imposing exteriors lay brains and sensory systems that reveal a surprising degree of sophistication. Understanding dinosaur intelligence and senses is key to unlocking how they interacted with their environment, found food, avoided predators, and communicated with one another. The primary window into dinosaur cognition comes from endocasts, natural or artificial molds of the brain cavity inside the skull. These endocasts provide clues about brain size, shape, and the relative development of different regions. While dinosaur brains were generally smaller relative to body size than those of modern mammals and birds, some groups stand out for their relatively large brains and complex sensory capabilities. Theropods, especially the maniraptorans, the group that includes Velociraptor and the ancestors of birds, had notably large brains for their size. Their brain cases show expanded regions associated with vision, balance, and coordination, suggesting they were agile, quick-thinking hunters. The famous Troodon, often cited as one of the most intelligent non-avian dinosaurs, had a brain-to-body ratio comparable to modern birds and reptiles known for problem-solving abilities. Vision was a critical sense for many dinosaurs. The placement and size of eye sockets indicate that some species had binocular vision, allowing for depth perception essential in hunting or navigating complex environments. Predators like Tyrannosaurus Rex had forward-facing eyes, giving them a wide field of stereoscopic vision. Herbivores, on the other hand, often had eyes positioned more laterally, providing a broad field of view to detect approaching threats. Hearing and smell were also well developed in many dinosaurs. The structure of the inner ear, preserved in some fossils, reveals sensitivity to a range of sound frequencies. Some theropods likely had acute hearing, useful for detecting prey or communicating over distances. Olfactory bulbs, the brain regions responsible for processing smell, were enlarged in groups like ankylosaurs and ceratopsians, indicating a keen sense of smell that could aid in foraging or predator detection. Communication among dinosaurs may have involved a combination of vocalizations, visual displays, and possibly even chemical signals. The discovery of hollow crests in hadrosaurs, capable of producing resonant sounds, suggests complex vocal communication. Feathered dinosaurs may have used plumage colors and patterns to signal mood, status, or reproductive readiness. Intelligence in dinosaurs was not uniform. While some species exhibited traits associated with higher cognitive function, others had simpler brains suited to their ecological roles. The diversity of brain sizes and sensory adaptations reflects the wide range of lifestyles and behaviors that dinosaurs evolved over millions of years. How did these sensory and cognitive abilities influence dinosaur behavior? And what can modern technology tell us about the minds of these ancient creatures? Modern technology has revolutionized the study of dinosaur intelligence and senses. High-resolution CT scans allow paleontologists to peer inside fossilized skulls, reconstructing the shape and volume of brain cavities with remarkable accuracy. These digital endocasts reveal not only the overall size of the brain, but also the relative development of regions associated with specific functions: vision, hearing, balance, and even social behavior. For instance, studies of Troodon and other maniraptoran theropods show pronounced optic lobes, indicating exceptional visual acuity. This would have been invaluable for hunting, navigating dense vegetation, or engaging in complex social interactions. The semicircular canals of the inner ear, which help control balance and spatial orientation, are also well developed in agile predators, supporting the idea that these dinosaurs were capable of rapid, precise movements. In hadrosaurs, CT scans of the skull reveal intricate passages within their hollow crests. These structures likely functioned as resonating chambers, allowing the animals to produce a range of vocalizations. Computer models suggest that some hadrosaurs could generate low-frequency sounds that traveled long distances, potentially useful for communication within large herds or warning of approaching danger. Olfactory capabilities have been explored through the study of fossilized nasal cavities and the size of olfactory bulbs. In Tyrannosaurus Rex, for example, the large olfactory bulbs suggest a highly developed sense of smell, possibly rivaling that of modern vultures. This adaptation would have helped the predator locate carcasses over great distances, supplementing its hunting strategy with efficient scavenging. The question of intelligence is more complex. While brain size provides some clues, it is not the sole determinant of cognitive ability. The organization of the brain, the density of neural connections, and the integration of sensory information all play roles in shaping behavior. Comparisons with modern birds and reptiles, distant relatives of dinosaurs, offer valuable analogies. Birds, with their relatively small but highly organized brains, exhibit sophisticated behaviors such as tool use, problem solving, and complex social interactions. Some paleontologists argue that certain dinosaurs, especially those closely related to birds, may have possessed similar capabilities. Evidence for social behavior comes from fossilized trackways, bone beds, and nesting sites. Parallel footprints suggest coordinated movement, while communal nesting grounds indicate group living and possibly cooperative care of young. The presence of display structures, feathers, crests, and horns further supports the idea of complex communication and social hierarchies. Ultimately, the sensory and cognitive abilities of dinosaurs were shaped by their environments and lifestyles. Predators needed keen senses and quick reflexes, while herbivores relied on vigilance and group coordination. The interplay of these traits contributed to the evolutionary success of dinosaurs, allowing them to thrive in diverse and changing ecosystems. What do these findings reveal about the daily lives of dinosaurs? And how did intelligence and sensory adaptations help some species survive in the most extreme environments on Earth? The daily lives of dinosaurs were deeply influenced by their intelligence and sensory adaptations, especially for those species that inhabited extreme environments. In polar regions, for example, dinosaurs faced months of darkness, freezing temperatures, and limited food resources. Fossil evidence from places like Australia and Alaska reveals that some dinosaurs not only survived but thrived under these challenging conditions. Large eye sockets in species such as Dinosaura suggest adaptations for enhanced night vision, allowing them to forage and navigate during long polar winters. The presence of insulating feathers in some polar dinosaurs points to advanced thermoregulation, a trait shared with modern birds. These features, combined with keen senses of smell and hearing, would have been essential for detecting food, avoiding predators, and communicating in low-light environments. Intelligence played a role in survival strategies as well. Dinosaurs living in harsh climates may have developed complex behaviors to cope with seasonal changes. For instance, evidence of group living and coordinated movement in polar species hints at social strategies for finding food and maintaining warmth. Trackways showing parallel movement suggest that herding or migration was common, helping individuals locate resources and avoid isolation. In more temperate regions, sensory and cognitive abilities influenced foraging, predator avoidance, and social interactions. Herbivores with wide fields of vision and acute hearing could detect threats early, while predators with binocular vision and sensitive olfactory systems excelled at tracking prey. The ability to learn from experience, recognize individuals, and respond to environmental cues would have given dinosaurs a significant edge in the dynamic ecosystems of the Mesozoic. The fossil record also preserves rare glimpses of problem-solving and adaptability. Injuries that healed over time, changes in feeding strategies, and evidence of tool use in some bird-like dinosaurs all point to a capacity for learning and innovation. These traits, while difficult to measure directly, are inferred from anatomical features and behavioral analogies with modern animals. As paleontologists continue to uncover new fossils and apply advanced technologies, our understanding of dinosaur intelligence and senses grows ever more nuanced. The picture that emerges is one of active, responsive animals, creatures that navigated complex worlds with a suite of adaptations finely tuned to their environments. When most people picture dinosaurs, They imagine steamy jungles and sun-baked floodplains. Yet, during the Mesozoic, dinosaurs also thrived in regions that today lie within the Arctic and Antarctic circles. Fossil discoveries from Australia, New Zealand, Alaska, and even Antarctica have revealed that some dinosaurs were remarkably well adapted to life at high latitudes, enduring months of darkness, freezing temperatures, and dramatic seasonal changes. During the Cretaceous period, the continents were arranged differently, and global temperatures were generally warmer than today. Still, polar regions experienced long, dark winters and cool summers. In these environments, dinosaurs faced unique challenges: how to find food in the dark, how to stay warm, and how to survive months when plant growth slowed or stopped altogether. One of the best-studied polar dinosaurs is Lear a small ornithopod from early Cretaceous Australia. Fossils of this species have been found in rocks that, at the time, were located well within the Antarctic Circle. Lear had unusually large eye sockets, suggesting adaptations for enhanced night vision, an essential trait for foraging during the long polar night. Its bones also show evidence of rapid seasonal growth, with growth rings indicating periods of abundance and scarcity. Other polar dinosaurs, such as the Hypsilophodontids of Alaska's North Slope, show similar adaptations. Fossilized bones from the Prince Creek Formation reveal that these dinosaurs lived year-round in environments where winter temperatures could drop near freezing. The presence of juvenile and adult skeletons together suggests that these species did not migrate long distances to escape the cold, but instead endured the harsh conditions in place. Feathers and filamentous coverings likely played a crucial role in polar dinosaur survival. Fossils from China and other regions show that many small theropods and ornithopods were covered in insulating feathers, which would have helped retain body heat. This adaptation, combined with a high metabolic rate, allowed these dinosaurs to remain active even in cold climates, much like modern birds. The discovery of polar dinosaurs has challenged old assumptions about dinosaur physiology. Rather than being sluggish, cold-blooded reptiles, many dinosaurs were warm-blooded, active, and highly adaptable. Their ability to thrive in extreme environments speaks to the evolutionary flexibility that made them one of the most successful groups of animals in Earth's history. How did these polar dinosaurs find food and avoid predators during the long, dark winters? And what other extreme adaptations have paleontologists uncovered in the fossil record? Finding food in polar environments posed a significant challenge for dinosaurs. During the long winter months, sunlight was scarce and plant growth slowed dramatically. Yet, fossil evidence suggests that polar dinosaurs developed a range of strategies to cope with these seasonal shortages. One adaptation was dietary flexibility. Small herbivores like Lear and Alaskan Hypsilophodontids likely fed on a variety of plant materials, including evergreen conifers, ferns, and even fungi. Their beaks and teeth were well suited for cropping tough vegetation, and their digestive systems may have been capable of extracting nutrients from fibrous, low-quality food. Some paleontologists propose that these dinosaurs could also supplement their diets with insects or other small animals when plant resources were limited. Evidence from bone histology, microscopic analysis of bone tissue, shows that polar dinosaurs experienced seasonal growth patterns. During the brief summer, when food was abundant, they grew rapidly, adding thick layers of bone. In winter, growth slowed or even stopped, as indicated by closely spaced growth rings. This pattern mirrors that of modern animals living in extreme environments, such as Arctic caribou or penguins. Predator-prey dynamics in polar regions were also unique. Fossil sites in Alaska's Prince Creek Formation have yielded remains of both herbivorous and carnivorous dinosaurs, including small theropods that may have hunted in packs or scavenged for food. The scarcity of prey during winter would have forced predators to be opportunistic, feeding on whatever resources were available. Some may have targeted hibernating or weakened individuals, while others relied on stored fat or reduced activity to survive lean times. Migration is another strategy seen in modern polar animals, but evidence suggests that many polar dinosaurs remained in place year-round. The presence of juvenile and adult skeletons together, as well as the lack of large-scale trackways indicating seasonal movement, supports the idea that these dinosaurs endured the harsh winter conditions rather than fleeing to warmer climates. Feathers and insulation were critical for survival. Fossils from China and other regions show that many small dinosaurs were covered in downy feathers, which would have helped retain body heat. Combined with a high metabolic rate, These adaptations allowed polar dinosaurs to remain active even in freezing temperatures. Some species may have huddled together for warmth or used burrows and shelters to escape the cold. The ability to thrive in polar environments highlights the evolutionary ingenuity of dinosaurs. Their success in these extreme habitats challenges old stereotypes and underscores the diversity of strategies that allowed them to dominate the Mesozoic world. What other extreme adaptations have paleontologists discovered? And how do these findings reshape our understanding of dinosaur biology and ecology? Beyond polar regions, dinosaurs evolved a suite of extreme adaptations to survive in a variety of challenging environments. In arid deserts, floodplains prone to drought, and coastal areas subject to storms and tidal changes, dinosaurs demonstrated remarkable flexibility in physiology and behavior. In desert environments, some dinosaurs developed specialized features to conserve water and withstand heat. Fossil evidence from the late Cretaceous of Mongolia, for example, reveals that Protoceratops and other ceratopsians lived in sandy, windswept habitats. Their compact bodies and beaked mouths were well suited for feeding on tough, drought-resistant plants. Trackways and nesting sites suggest that these dinosaurs may have dug shallow pits to lay eggs, using sand to insulate and protect their clutches from temperature extremes. Floodplain dwellers, such as hadrosaurs and sauropods, face the challenge of seasonal flooding and shifting river channels. Their long legs and broad feet help them navigate muddy terrain, while their social behavior, traveling in herds, provided safety and facilitated migration to new feeding grounds as water levels changed. Fossilized bone beds in North America and Asia often contain the remains of entire herds, indicating that these dinosaurs moved together in response to environmental pressures. Coastal and marine environments also hosted unique dinosaur adaptations. Some theropods, like Spinosaurus, developed elongated jaws and conical teeth for catching fish, along with paddle-like limbs for swimming. Fossil evidence from North Africa suggests that Spinosaurus spent much of its time in aquatic habitats, a rare lifestyle among dinosaurs. Its dense bones and streamlined body supported buoyancy and maneuverability in water, setting it apart from its terrestrial relatives. Extreme adaptations extended to reproductive strategies as well. In environments with unpredictable climates, some dinosaurs laid large numbers of eggs to ensure that at least a few offspring survived. Others, like oviraptorosaurs, built elaborate nests and may have guarded their eggs closely, increasing the chances of successful hatching. The study of these adaptations has reshaped our understanding of dinosaur biology. Rather than being limited by their environments, dinosaurs exploited a wide range of habitats, developing specialized traits to overcome challenges. Their success in extreme conditions underscores the evolutionary versatility that made them one of the most dominant groups in Earth's history, as paleontologists continue to uncover fossils from diverse and challenging environments. New discoveries reveal the full extent of dinosaur adaptability. These findings not only illuminate the lives of individual species, but also help reconstruct the complex ecosystems of the Mesozoic world. With a deeper appreciation for dinosaur resilience, the next chapter explores the changing landscapes of the Cretaceous period, an era of dramatic environmental transformation and evolutionary innovation. The Cretaceous period, spanning from about 145 to 66 million years ago, was a time of profound change and diversification. Following the Jurassic, the world's continents continued to drift toward their modern positions, reshaping oceans, climates, and ecosystems. This era witnessed the rise of flowering plants, the expansion of new dinosaur groups, and the emergence of some of the most iconic species in paleontological history. One of the defining features of the Cretaceous was the breakup of the supercontinent Pangaea into smaller landmasses. This tectonic activity created new coastlines, shallow inland seas, and isolated habitats. The Western Interior Seaway, for example, split North America into two landmasses, influencing the distribution and evolution of dinosaurs on either side. These geographic changes fostered speciation, as populations became separated and adapted to local conditions. The climate during the Cretaceous was generally warmer and more humid than today, with less pronounced polar ice. This allowed for lush vegetation to flourish, including the first widespread appearance of angiosperms, flowering plants. These plants transformed terrestrial ecosystems, providing new food sources and habitats for herbivorous dinosaurs and insects. Fossilized pollen and leaves from formations like the Dakota Sandstone and the Santana Formation reveal diverse plant communities that supported complex food webs. Dinosaur faunas of the Cretaceous were remarkably diverse. Hadrosaurs, or duck-billed dinosaurs, became widespread and abundant, evolving sophisticated chewing mechanisms and complex social behaviors. Ceratopsians, with their elaborate horns and frills, flourished in North America and Asia. Theropods diversified into a range of forms, from the massive tyrannosaurs to the agile dromaeosaurs and the bizarre oviraptorosaurs. Fossil sites such as Hell Creek in Montana, the Gobi Desert in Mongolia, and the Kem beds in North Africa provide snapshots of these vibrant ecosystems. They reveal interactions between predators and prey, nesting behaviors, and even evidence of disease and injury. These rich deposits have been instrumental in reconstructing the final chapters of the dinosaur story. How did the changing landscapes and climates of the Cretaceous influence dinosaur evolution? And what new ecological roles did dinosaurs fill as flowering plants reshaped the world? The spread of flowering plants during the Cretaceous marked a botanical revolution that rippled through every level of the ecosystem. Angiosperms, with their rapid growth, diverse forms, and nutritious seeds and fruits, quickly outcompeted many of the older gymnosperms and ferns. This shift in plant life had profound effects on herbivorous dinosaurs, insects, and even the predators that depended on them. Hadrosaurs, the so-called duck-billed dinosaurs, exemplify the evolutionary response to these new food sources. Their jaws were equipped with complex dental batteries, hundreds of tightly packed teeth that formed grinding surfaces ideal for processing tough, fibrous plant material. This adaptation allowed hadrosaurs to exploit a wide range of vegetation, from low-lying ground cover to the leaves and twigs of flowering shrubs and trees. Fossilized coprolites, dinosaur dung, from the Cretaceous often contain fragments of angiosperm leaves, confirming their role in dinosaur diets. Ceratopsians, too, diversified in response to changing plant communities. Their beaks and shearing teeth were well suited for cropping and slicing through tough stems and leaves. The proliferation of different horn and frill shapes among ceratopsians may have been driven not only by social and defensive needs, but also by subtle differences in feeding strategies and habitat preferences. The rise of flowering plants also spurred an explosion in insect diversity. Fossilized amber from the Cretaceous preserves a remarkable array of pollinators: beetles, flies, wasps, and early bees, many of which developed specialized relationships with angiosperms. These insects, in turn, became important food sources for small dinosaurs, mammals, and birds, weaving new connections into the food web. Predatory dinosaurs adapted to these changes as well. Tyrannosaurs, which began as relatively small, fast hunters, evolved into apex predators like Tyrannosaurus Rex in the late Cretaceous. Their massive skulls, bone-crushing teeth, and keen senses made them formidable hunters of large herbivores. Dromaeosaurs and troodontids, with their sickle-shaped claws and sharp vision, filled the roles of agile, intelligent predators, preying on smaller dinosaurs, mammals, and possibly even eggs and nestlings. The Cretaceous also saw the emergence of some of the most unusual dinosaur forms. Therizinosaurs, with their long necks, huge claws, and herbivorous diets, defied easy classification. Oviraptorosaurs, once thought to be egg thieves, are now recognized as diverse, often feathered dinosaurs with complex nesting behaviors. The interplay between plants, herbivores, and predators created dynamic, ever-changing ecosystems. As continents drifted and climates shifted, new species evolved, others went extinct, and the tapestry of life grew ever more intricate. How did these vibrant Cretaceous ecosystems function? And what do fossil sites reveal about the daily lives and interactions of their inhabitants? Cretaceous fossil sites offer extraordinary glimpses into the daily lives and interactions of dinosaurs and their contemporaries. The Hell Creek Formation in North America, for example, preserves a rich assemblage of late Cretaceous life: towering Tyrannosaurus Rex, stalking herds of Triceratops and Edmontosaurus, nimble dromaeosaurs darting through undergrowth, and early birds flitting among flowering trees. These deposits capture not just bones, but also footprints, eggs, nests, and even skin impressions, providing a multi-dimensional view of ancient ecosystems. Trackways reveal patterns of movement and behavior. Parallel tracks of hadrosaurs and ceratopsians suggest herd living and migration, while solitary theropod tracks hint at the hunting strategies of apex predators. Some sites preserve dramatic evidence of predator-prey encounters, such as bite marks on bones, healed injuries, and even the famous fighting dinosaurs fossil from Mongolia, which captures a Velociraptor and a Protoceratops locked in mortal combat. Nesting sites and eggshell fragments shed light on reproductive strategies. Many Cretaceous dinosaurs, including hadrosaurs and oviraptorosaurs, built communal nesting grounds, returning year after year to lay eggs in carefully constructed nests. Fossilized embryos and hatchlings reveal that some species provided extended parental care, with adults guarding nests and possibly feeding their young. The presence of multiple generations within a single nesting site suggests complex social structures and coordinated breeding behaviors. The Cretaceous world was also home to a growing diversity of mammals, birds, and reptiles. Early mammals, though small and mostly nocturnal, began to exploit new ecological niches, feeding on insects, seeds, and even small vertebrates. Birds, descended from feathered theropods, diversified into a range of forms, from primitive toothed species to more modern-looking flyers. Pterosaurs, the flying reptiles, reached their greatest diversity and size, with giants like Quetzalcoatlus soaring over ancient coastlines. Aquatic and semi-aquatic environments teemed with life as well. The western interior seaway was home to marine reptiles such as mosasaurs and plesiosaurs, as well as giant turtles and fish. Fossilized remains of these animals, along with the shells of ammonites and the tracks of shore-dwelling dinosaurs, paint a vivid picture of the interconnectedness of land and sea. The Cretaceous period was a time of innovation, adaptation, and ecological complexity. Dinosaurs and their contemporaries filled every available niche, from the polar forests of Australia to the subtropical swamps of North America. Yet, even as these ecosystems flourished, the stage was being set for one of the most dramatic events in Earth's history. The mass extinction that would bring the age of dinosaurs to a sudden and catastrophic end. The end of the Cretaceous period, about 66 million years ago, marks one of the most dramatic turning points in the history of life on Earth. In a geological instant, the thriving, diverse world of the dinosaurs and many other forms of life was brought to a sudden and catastrophic halt. This mass extinction event, known as the Cretaceous Paleogene (KPG) extinction, wiped out nearly 75% of all species, including all non-avian dinosaurs, large marine reptiles, ammonites, and countless plants and microorganisms. For decades, scientists debated the cause of this global catastrophe. Today, the evidence overwhelmingly points to a massive asteroid impact as the primary trigger. The discovery of a thin layer of clay rich in iridium, a rare element on Earth but common in meteorites, at the KPG boundary around the world, provided the first major clue. This layer, found in rocks from North America to Europe to New Zealand, marks the precise moment of extinction. The smoking gun was found in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. The Chicxulub crater, a 180-kilometer wide scar buried beneath the surface. Geological studies show that this impact released energy equivalent to billions of atomic bombs, vaporizing rock, igniting wildfires, and sending a cloud of dust and debris into the atmosphere. This global shroud blocked sunlight for months or even years, plunging the planet into darkness and triggering a dramatic drop in temperatures, a phenomenon known as impact winter. The consequences were devastating. Photosynthesis ground to a halt, collapsing food chains on land and in the oceans. Plants withered, herbivores starved, and predators soon followed. Acid rain, wildfires, and tsunamis added to the destruction. In the seas, plankton populations crashed, leading to the extinction of marine reptiles and many fish species. Yet the asteroid impact was not the only stressor. In the final million years of the Cretaceous, massive volcanic eruptions in what is now India, the Deccan Traps, poured vast quantities of lava and gases into the atmosphere. These eruptions contributed to climate instability, acid rain, and long-term environmental stress, possibly weakening ecosystems before the final blow. How did life respond to such a sudden and total upheaval? And why did some groups, like birds and mammals, survive while others vanished forever? The aftermath of the KPG extinction was a world transformed. In the immediate wake of the disaster, ecosystems were stripped bare. The fossil record shows a sharp decline in diversity and abundance, with disaster faunas dominated by small, opportunistic species. On land, the only dinosaurs to survive were the avian lineage, birds, while mammals, reptiles, amphibians, and a few other groups managed to persist and eventually thrive. Why did birds and mammals survive when so many others perished? Several factors likely contributed to their resilience. Small body size. Smaller animals required less food and could survive on limited resources. Burrowing and sheltering behaviors. Many mammals and some birds could hide underground or in protected environments, escaping the worst of the environmental fallout. Generalist diets. Omnivorous and insectivorous species could exploit a wider range of food sources, including seeds, insects, and detritus. Rapid reproduction. Shorter generation times allowed populations to recover more quickly once conditions improved. Birds, as descendants of small feathered theropods, were particularly well suited to survive. Their ability to fly enabled them to escape local disasters, and their beaks and digestive systems allowed them to exploit seeds and other tough food sources that persisted after the extinction. Some early mammals, already adapted to nocturnal and burrowing lifestyles, found new opportunities in the post-extinction world. In the oceans, survival was equally selective. Some fish, turtles, and crocodilians endured, while most large marine reptiles and ammonites disappeared. Plankton communities eventually rebounded, laying the foundation for the recovery of marine ecosystems. The extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs left ecological niches vacant across the globe. In the millions of years that followed, mammals diversified and radiated into new forms, eventually giving rise to the modern groups we know today. Birds, too, underwent a spectacular evolutionary radiation, filling the skies with new species. The K-peach extinction was not just an end, but a beginning, a reset that paved the way for the rise of mammals, the evolution of primates, and ultimately, the emergence of humans. The legacy of the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction is still felt today. The sudden disappearance of the dinosaurs and so many other groups reshaped the course of evolution, altering the balance of life on Earth and opening the door to new possibilities. The fossil record preserves both the tragedy of loss and the resilience of life, offering lessons about extinction, survival, and adaptation. Modern research continues to refine our understanding of this pivotal event. Drilling projects at the Chicxulub crater have revealed details about the impact's immediate aftermath: tsunamis, wildfires, and a nuclear winter that lasted for years. Studies of fossil pollen and spores show how plant communities collapsed and then slowly recovered. Isotopic analyses of rocks and fossils track the dramatic shifts in climate and ocean chemistry, the story of the K-peach. Extinction also serves as a sobering reminder of the fragility of life in the face of sudden environmental change. Today, scientists warn that human activities, habitat destruction, climate change, pollution, and the spread of invasive species are driving a new wave of extinctions at an unprecedented rate. The lessons of the past underscore the importance of understanding and protecting the diversity of life on our planet. Yet, the end of the age of dinosaurs was not the end of their story. Birds, the living descendants of theropod dinosaurs, continue to thrive in every corner of the globe, a testament to the enduring legacy of their ancient ancestors. The world we inhabit is shaped by the echoes of that ancient catastrophe, and the story of the dinosaurs remains one of the most compelling chapters in the history of life on Earth. The extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs 66 million years ago marked the end of an era, but it was far from the end of the dinosaur story. Their legacy lives on in the birds that fill our skies, the fossils that captivate our imaginations, and the scientific discoveries that continue to reshape our understanding of life's history. This chapter explores how dinosaurs have influenced the modern world, scientifically, culturally, and ecologically, and how their story continues to evolve. Birds are the direct descendants of theropod dinosaurs, a lineage that survived the catastrophic Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction. This connection, once controversial, is now firmly established through a wealth of fossil evidence, comparative anatomy, and molecular studies. Feathered dinosaurs like Archaeopteryx and Microraptor provide transitional forms that bridge the gap between non-avian dinosaurs and modern birds, revealing the gradual evolution of flight, feathers, and avian physiology. Modern birds retain many dinosaurian traits: hollow bones, three-toed feet, a furcular wishbone, and complex respiratory systems with air sacs. Their feathers, originally evolved for insulation and display, became adapted for powered flight. The diversity of birds today, from tiny hummingbirds to massive ostriches, reflects the evolutionary success of this lineage, which has colonized nearly every habitat on Earth. Beyond biology, dinosaurs have left an indelible mark on human culture. Since their discovery in the early 19th century, dinosaurs have fascinated scientists and the public alike. They have inspired art, literature, film, and education, becoming symbols of prehistoric life and the power of evolution. Museums around the world showcase spectacular dinosaur fossils, drawing millions of visitors and fueling curiosity about Earth's deep past. The study of dinosaurs has also driven advances in paleontology and related sciences. Techniques such as CT scanning, isotopic analysis, and computer modeling have transformed how we reconstruct dinosaur anatomy, behavior, and ecology. The discovery of feathered dinosaurs in China revolutionized our understanding of dinosaur appearance and their relationship to birds. Ongoing research continues to challenge old assumptions and reveal new complexities. Dinosaurs also play a role in modern ecology and conservation. Birds, as living dinosaurs, are vital components of ecosystems worldwide. They act as pollinators, seed dispersers, predators, and prey, maintaining ecological balance. Understanding their evolutionary history helps conservationists protect endangered species and habitats, linking past and present in a continuum of life. How do these living descendants connect us to the ancient past? And what can the legacy of dinosaurs teach us about evolution, extinction, and the future of life on Earth? The evolutionary journey from non-avian dinosaurs to modern birds is a story of remarkable transformation and adaptation. Feathered dinosaurs discovered in the last few decades have provided unprecedented insights into this process. Species like Anchiornis, Confuciusornis, and Microraptor display a mosaic of traits: feathers for insulation and display, wings capable of gliding or powered flight, and skeletal features intermediate between ground-dwelling theropods and birds. Flight itself evolved gradually. Early feathered dinosaurs likely used their wings for balance, display, or short bursts of gliding before true powered flight emerged. This transition opened new ecological opportunities, allowing birds to exploit aerial niches, escape predators, and disperse widely. The evolution of flight also drove changes in metabolism, respiration, and reproduction, setting birds apart from their dinosaurian ancestors. Modern birds exhibit incredible diversity, with over 10,000 species adapted to environments ranging from tropical rainforests to Arctic tundra. Their success is a testament to the evolutionary innovations inherited from their dinosaur ancestors. Features such as keen vision, complex vocalizations, and social behaviors have roots deep in the Mesozoic, linking the past to the present. Dinosaurs have also shaped human culture in profound ways. The term dinosaur itself, coined by Sir Richard Owen in 1842, means terrible lizard, reflecting early impressions of these creatures as monstrous reptiles. Over time, scientific discoveries have refined this image, revealing dinosaurs as dynamic, diverse, and often bird-like animals. Dinosaurs have captured the public imagination through books, movies, and media. From the pioneering works of Charles R. Knight's paintings to the blockbuster Jurassic Park films, dinosaurs have become icons of prehistoric life. They inspire wonder, curiosity, and a sense of connection to Earth's deep history. Educational programs and museum exhibits use dinosaurs to teach concepts of evolution, extinction, and scientific inquiry, engaging audiences of all ages. The scientific study of dinosaurs has driven technological and methodological advances. High-resolution imaging techniques allow researchers to examine fossilized bones and soft tissues in unprecedented detail. Isotopic analyses reveal diets, migration patterns, and climate conditions. Computer simulations model biomechanics, growth, and behavior. These tools have transformed paleontology from a descriptive science into a dynamic field integrating biology, geology, and physics. The discovery of feathered dinosaurs in Liaoning Province, China, was a watershed moment. These fossils preserved delicate feathers and soft tissues, overturning the long-held view of dinosaurs as scaly reptiles. They confirmed the evolutionary link between dinosaurs and birds, and sparked a re-evaluation of dinosaur ecology, behavior, and appearance. Today, feathered dinosaurs are recognized as widespread and diverse, with feathers serving multiple functions beyond flight. The legacy of dinosaurs extends into modern ecology through their avian descendants. Birds play critical roles in ecosystems as pollinators, seed dispersers, and predators of insects and small animals. Their behaviors influence plant reproduction, pest control, and nutrient cycling. Conservation efforts aimed at protecting bird species often draw on knowledge of their evolutionary history and ecological importance. Understanding the evolutionary legacy of dinosaurs also informs conservation biology. The study of past extinctions, including the KPG event, provides context for current biodiversity crises. It highlights the fragility of ecosystems and the consequences of rapid environmental change. By learning from the past, scientists and policymakers can better address challenges such as habitat loss, climate change, and invasive species. What does the future hold for the legacy of dinosaurs? How will ongoing research and conservation efforts shape our understanding and stewardship of life on Earth? The future of dinosaur legacy lies in continued scientific discovery, education, and conservation. New fossil finds regularly challenge existing ideas, revealing unexpected diversity and complexity. For example, recent discoveries of giant feathered theropods, evidence of dinosaur coloration, and insights into social behavior deepen our understanding of these ancient animals. Technological advances promise even greater breakthroughs. Techniques like synchrotron imaging, ancient protein analysis, and virtual reality reconstructions allow scientists to explore fossils in new ways. These tools help answer questions about dinosaur physiology, growth, reproduction, and extinction, bringing the past to life with unprecedented clarity. Public engagement remains vital. Museums, documentaries, and educational programs inspire new generations of scientists and enthusiasts. Citizen science projects, such as fossil hunts and digital data collection, democratize research and foster a global community passionate about paleontology. Conservation of birds, the living dinosaurs, is a critical part of this legacy. Habitat destruction, climate change, and human activity threaten many bird species worldwide. Protecting these animals preserves not only biodiversity, but also a living link to Earth's deep past. Efforts to conserve birds often emphasize their evolutionary heritage, connecting people emotionally and intellectually to the natural world. The story of dinosaurs is a powerful reminder of life's resilience and vulnerability. From their rise in the Triassic to their dominance in the Mesozoic, their sudden extinction, and their enduring presence in birds, dinosaurs illustrate the dynamic nature of evolution. They teach us about adaptation, survival, and the interconnectedness of all life. As we face environmental challenges today, the legacy of dinosaurs encourages us to appreciate the richness of life and the importance of stewardship. Their fossils are not just relics of a distant past, but keys to understanding the processes that shape life on Earth. By studying dinosaurs, we gain perspective on our place in the natural world and the responsibility we bear for its future. In this way, dinosaurs continue to inspire wonder, fuel scientific inquiry, and remind us that the story of life is ongoing, ever-changing, ever-evolving, and deeply interconnected.